All right. Oh, my hair. I just took a shower. So, like a lot of you, I watch probably YouTube way more than I should, too much. So you always see these things pop up on your screen, and I saw this one video. Where'd it go? Okay, so if you type in why everybody stopped reading, you get this video that gets 2 million views by some academic, and then you get David Pakman, and he was talking about a year ago, and a few other people, but and the same guy talks about, you know, just that yeah, I mean, it's true that video games and cell phones and just everything, but I mean, you can't just look at statistics and go, okay, whatever, I mean, I wouldn't care about that anyway. I mean, it seems like, at least in the last couple of years, I mean, I went to all these poetry readings and people are excited about it or into it as much as have ever been. So those people are okay. It's just like, what? Why is, it seems like, if you want to, maybe there's like the 10%. So there's, you know, when you publish a book, I published a book. I mean, most of the time I wouldn't even care about this, but I published a book this year, and and if this book is only like 30%, no, what did I say, 10%, 30 million people, Americans, are going to read it. It's probably less than that, because so half of them, or if not 90% of them, are just reading like genre fiction or serial fiction. So you look at a lot of these videos of people and they're talking about books and they're like acting like they're the experts on books. But you look at their books and it's just a bunch of, I read one romance novel. I've read them all. They're all the same. It's like you read one of these serial, kind of Harry Potter kind of books. It's just, it's okay if you're like 8 years old, and it hooks you in. But I mean, not, and then, but you can't compare everything to Harry Potter. That's like stupid, because like there's a lot of great stuff that came before Harry Potter, and Harry Potter, probably won't be read in like 50 years because it'll be replaced by some other bullshit. So, I mean, I can only speak to my own experience. I mean, when I was like in grammar school, junior high, I mean, I just read what everyone else read, and like I even remember some of the books, The Teddy Bear Habit. I read this book about boxing called The Contender in seventh grade. I don't even know who wrote that. I think I looked it up one time. And then some conventional ones, Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain. I remember reading that. And then, maybe that was in sixth grade, but in seventh grade, they did a thing in my school where, okay, for an hour we're gonna read a book and you get to pick a book. So I just had, because my mom had bought it. She bought this Howard Hughes biography by Noah Dietrich. So I read that, and not only did I read it, I mean, also I'd have to mention that in grammar school and junior high and high school, I was probably a better math student than I was in English and stuff. I was like, I probably didn't perfect the art of essay or explanation or organization skills. I didn't really get that till college. Some of my early essays were a little lame, or some, but it's true that people, it's possible that people these days, I mean, just worry, are kind of, when you're in high school, you're just kind of focusing on taking a test, you want to get into college, you're just kind of bypassing all the things. But when I was in high school and college, I was just always reading a book. I mean, like I said, I read all the standard stuff, and then I picked the Noah Dietrich, and my friend picked the Helter Skelter because that was like a book that came out back in the late '70s that that you would get, and I was kind of, and then I think I read a second book. I don't know what the second book was, but and then I started reading magazines and rock magazines and National Lampoon. I read all those if those were books. I mean, National Lampoon did a lot of stuff that was like the high school yearbook, the stuff that the Animal House screenplay was a little bit different than the actual movie. Anything that National Lampoon put out, or a lot of comedy stuff, Spy versus Spy, the whatever. I don't even remember what that was. Oh, I guess stuff from Mad Magazine. That was so. I was reading, and then yeah, I remember. Okay, so I remember reading Henry James. That was probably in high school. So in high school, I read a lot of stuff that you read: Lord of the Flies, The Pearl by John Steinbeck, uh, Henry James, The Twist, Turn of the Screw, Dickens. For some reason, in high school, like in 1980, they made you read Tale of Two Cities, which is like the lamest book by Charles Dickens you could possibly read. But maybe it's teachable, and that's why they do it. I don't know. A lot of these guys in the videos were saying that they don't even teach books; that they just kind of give you a section. But I remember taking a lot of tests, and I remember in high school, we would take this test where we'd read this story about some guy, late at night, walk, at the pool and stuff, but I tested okay, and I took like the college. I took the ACT, and math. I was more of a math whiz, or quick with math numbers. The literature kind of took longer for me to get my head around, but I don't know. But I kind of, in high school, I just had a lot. I guess why I read was because I had in high school I had taken some so many classes the first 3 years, like this senior year and the year out of high school. I had so much free time that I just started reading books, and I remember I read stuff, just like random stuff like Edie, the biography by George Plimpton, John Stein. I read that. I got a copy of it. I want to reread that book because that was a book I read back in '82. But I would just read random things, and then and then I started getting into some of the research things, and just stuff about bands, and probably read the Doors. No One Gets Out Here Alive around that time. Just random books. And I would read the Enemy and Flipside magazine, just stuff. And when I was like 16 or 17, I also read Dostoevsky and Camus, and like a lot of stuff that was kind of happening back then. And then and then I think since then I've always been reading. And like if you go to Goodreads, I've at least as long as I've been on Goodreads, I've read like somewhere between 50 or 100 books a year, maybe more sometimes. I'm really bored, and I'm looking at stuff. But my point is, I think genre fiction and like even white young adult. I'm not going to call it white young adult novels. I think that's kind of, those books are kind of pandering to a non-existent audience. It's like oh, because I think you should just go. I mean, like, if you look at my channel, it's like, okay, I'm talking about books. I go to bookstores. I, have these, there's these readings and stuff, and I interview authors. And then there's a couple books I think should be read by everybody. James Joyce, Thomas Mann, um, Pale Fire by Nabokov. And there's probably other writers, I mean, you should definitely read Susan Deitch and Mary Gaitskill and Virginia Woolf. And, I'm going to probably read Middlemarch by George Eliot this year and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of writers. And Ricky Ducournay is great. I've started reading Clarice Lispector quite a bit. Let's see if any questions and stuff. Let's see. Okay, so we've been going for 10 minutes. why, and why everyone stopped reading. Yeah, there's cell phones, there's video games. There's like a million ways to be entertained these days and stuff. And it's like, and books are not entertainment. I don't consider like self help books like or books that pop out there. It was already kind of decaying in the '90s, and so yeah. There's books, there's real books, there's a limited audience. Most books that come out, they only sell, between like 2 and 5,000. Even like really good, serious literary books are only sell 2,000 or 5,000 copies, and then it's a breakthrough that somebody sells like you know that kind of plateaus and sells 10, 20, 50,000. That would be like a Jonathan Franzen or something that kind of that's. But it's almost like music. Like music. A lot of people that I think are doing great music these days, they only sell like 2,000 or 5,000. They don't. Most people just listen on Spotify, and then I guess a lot of people just, a lot of books, they check it out of the library, or they read a bit of it online or something, and they don't really bother with it. But so that audience of, that 10% that still reads 20, 30 books a year. I don't know. And when I'm doing these readings and stuff, it just, I'm kind of reading to the faithful. There's all at least a big percentage of those people are aspiring writers. They're trying to figure out how to get their stuff published and stuff. So yeah, why do people stop reading? And there's, you know, people. If people, if you get rid of the internet, then people are going to start reading again. They're going to just, uh, look to that, or people. At some point, people are going to get, I don't really want to go on TikTok or Blue Sky or whatever the fuck the new thing is, but you know, uh, um, yeah, at times I get, I don't even watch regular TV anymore. I can't really get excited about, and when I do, it's like, well, I just hate watching commercials and stuff. But YouTube is great, um, and but some of these people that talk about books, I think they're a little bit misguided. Some of them are like professors and teachers, and they're just like looking at students and looking at statistics and stuff, and you know whether, I don't think it has to do with education, whether you learned it how to read in a phonic way. It's kind of weird that people, when they read out loud, they pronounce words differently. It's like, okay, well, that's existed for a while. Like a lot of people, don't pronounce Goethe right, or some people say Van Gogh and some people say Van Gogh, and all that stuff's okay. And I mean, I learned French mainly from books and online and stuff, and so like, yeah, some of my, it's not really through conversational French, so maybe my pronunciation of French is going to be a little bit off, but it just seems like, yeah, I hear people reading. You go to these things where everyone reads a bit of a essay that you're all like kind of studying, and some people like have a problem like reading, or they pronounce words like funny and stuff. But there's some illiteracy. Books. But it's an age thing. So like, like me being 60 and you being 30, or whatever. And yeah, I was watching this other video. This guy, he he was lamenting that all of his viewers were 95% of his viewers were over the age of 45 and stuff. I'm just glad that some young people actually come and have a look, and want to look at some of the big boys of literature, and big girls too. It's all there. I mean, it's like, hey, if you don't want to read Shakespeare, read Virginia Woolf, read Mary Gaitskill, or I just got a book by what's her name, Annie Ernaux, and yeah. So, well, and Susan Day. There's plenty of authors. I don't know why we have to rely on genre fiction or serial fiction. Like, just like it's the same thing. It's like the same thing. It's like already. If you read, like I did, 20 years ago, because my friend kids, I read the Lemony Snicket books, but if you read, I didn't read the whole series. I read maybe like the first five, and I thought, I was kind of impressed, and but but all those books are like the same thing. It's like there's like some sort of there's characters, there's some sort of problem, and it gets kind of solved by the end of the book. So okay, so I don't want to waste too much time of your time, but definitely check out my interviews with writers, and try to tackle some of the big books and stuff. And I'll see you later, and have a good day, and have a good life.